This is video number 3, and video number 2 is entirely too long. Okay, for the first trimester, most, most of our texts that we use, are fairly consistent about this, other than taking a prenatal vitamin and and trying to make sure that you're active and doing all the right behaviors. There really isn't any huge nutritional change for the first trimester. Many women will gain 5 to 7 pounds without any need to really think about eating because their appetite will go up. Where we really start to see that specific recommendation for more calories is the second trimester, where protein need now actually goes up, carbohydrate need actually goes up, caloric need actually goes up, and exercise. As the fetus does start to get bigger and bigger during pregnancy, it'll start to mess around with the GI tract and push organs out of the way. And my spouse would say that you could feel my son kicking her kidneys. I don't even know how you would know which organ's being kicked, but that kind of thing. So we want you to be active because we want to make sure your GI tracts are working really well and you're not becoming constipated and you're taking your prenatal vitamin. But you got to make sure you're not overactive and you're not doing some dangerous things like hot tubs and saunas and getting your core body temperature up too high. Yeah, that can be dangerous. And then we get into the issues that occur during the second trimester. So this is about week 20, week 22. I shouldn't really, it's not really, age is not really the second trimester. Age really is throughout. We know that younger moms have healthier pregnancies generally, but they have risks. What kind of risks? They may not gain enough weight during pregnancy. Hard to tell a 16-year-old to gain a lot of weight when everything in America tells her not to gain weight. A 16-year-old could already be anemic. You're not preventing anemia, you're treating anemia. Older moms have different issues. They may be on medication. They have an older body. Their eggs are older. When they deliver, the odds of their children having genetic disease like Down syndrome or other developmental disorders is greater. Part of that is the eggs are older. That's called the egg cell theory, by the way. Part of that is a woman is older, right? Older women have older arteries, older lungs. It's just harder to feed the fetus via the entire blood supply, et cetera, et cetera. So that is a concern during pregnancy. For younger moms, we want to make sure they eat well, get enough iron, and you're preventing anemia. And for older moms, you want to make sure that if they're on medication, they have diabetes or blood pressure issues, everything is well managed and well controlled. But specific to the second trimester, the biggest issues that occur at about week 20, are things like blood pressure and blood sugar. Blood sugar starts to become an issue at about middle of pregnancy. So second trimester, most women will have a glucose tolerance test where they're challenged with a sugary solution and they're tracking how well their insulin works over, let's say, a span of 6 hours. If a woman does have gestational diabetes, it does put the baby at risk, not only the baby and the mom. Babies can be born larger, their growth may not be uniform. So you do want to manage it. For most women, it's going to be diet. It'll be changes to their diet, making sure they're eating more whole grain foods, maybe cutting down the percent of their calories that is from carbohydrates, and that amount is a very healthy, complex, low processed amount. And if she's gaining a lot of weight, making sure she's not gaining too much weight. In the vast majority of women who have gestational diabetes, it's managed very well. I have a Kaiser Permanente video that we have in class that covers this. And they make the same thing. As long as you're doing everything right, you're seeing your physician. If you have to test your blood sugar, you are. Diet should be just plenty. Might some women have to take medication? It's possible. Blood pressure is different. Now, blood pressure, for many women, their blood pressure can go up during pregnancy. But there are some types of blood pressure that are really scary. One is called preeclampsia. With preeclampsia, we have severe increases in blood pressure with also a lot of fluid retention. This can put stress on the kidneys. It can put stress on the placenta. It can put stress on the mom. It's not an impossibility if preeclampsia is diagnosed during pregnancy that the woman would have to really change her lifestyle, even potentially just have bed rest for the length of the pregnancy. I have a wonderfully produced British National Health Service, or their national, the NHS, the National Health Service. So Britain's kind of like universal health care. entity. They did a great video on this in Canvas. I totally recommend you watch it. It has all the things to be looking for, what to worry about, eye pain, liver pain, swelling in the feet, those kinds of things. If you don't manage preeclampsia, it can turn into eclampsia. That is very dangerous during pregnancy. And yeah, it can cause death during pregnancy. So whenever there's a risk for preeclampsia, they really, really intervene medically very quickly. By the way, when blood pressure goes up, that causes inflammation. So it doesn't allow more nutrition to get into the fetus. It actually does the opposite. Those are capillaries, those little baby capillaries in the placenta become inflamed, and that decreases nutrient and oxygen flow into the fetus. That's why we know when you smoke during pregnancy, it increases the risk for a much smaller baby at birth, because you're narrowing the arteries, right? It's an inflammatory process, smoking. Okay, finally you get to the third trimester, assuming all these tough things haven't occurred. The recommendation is now almost a pound of weight gain per week. This is where the baby really is showing, but it can be very hard on eating when the fetus takes up that much space inside the body. It's pushing the stomach and the intestines out of the way, so it's more frequent meals, eating more often, and doing all the same things we recommended in week 3 about GERD. Spicy foods, caffeinated foods, not laying down after you eat, giving your body a chance to kind of eat, maybe using a pillow to incline yourself after you eat, being active, keeping that GI tract moving, eating fiber-rich food so the stuff keeps moving along. Remember, if you're a woman and you're on a prenatal, you're taking that the entire pregnancy with maybe extra iron, which is your friend in terms of red blood cell production. It may not be your friend in terms of the GI tract. Again, they do sell iron plus laxative as a supplement. And then finally, how do we ensure that women in America who may not have excellent health care or have any health care have access to resources, medicinal resources, nutritional resources for them and their kids? WIC, right? WIC is a national program with granting process to states, and it's to ensure that women and children up to age 5 who are at nutritional risk in our country have access to healthy foods and health care. WIC may be the only government program, and I don't know if this is good or bad, if it's sad or we should celebrate this, where as a taxpayer you put in $1 and you probably save the country $3. When women have access to healthcare during pregnancy, and their newborn infants and their children have access to healthcare and adequate nutrition, it means everybody's healthier, and the less likely they're going to go and use the healthcare system and incur costs to the government. It's a great program. Is it a perfect program? There is no perfect government program. When we talk about Meals on Wheels for the elderly, hey, that's not perfect. But, these programs are put in place to provide a safety net. This one works. Could it work better? Sure, it could. But it does exist, and it is designed for ensuring that, those at greatest risk can still have a healthy pregnancy in America.